Drop what you do in YouTube. It's Big Play Fake, and today we're gonna be showing y'all something a little different. I know I'm usually mad on the channel, but today I'm gonna be showing y'all how to make an awesome custom YouTube thumbnail. And what we're gonna be doing this with is we're gonna be using Paint.net. So we're just gonna get right into it. And this video is completely sped up. The whole process took 45 minutes. Obviously, it's condensed into an 8-minute video. Just about half an hour of that 45 minutes was spent erasing. And this is why people have green screens, because as you can see, the background right here of where I am is like white, yellow, greenish, almost skin colored kind of walls, which, makes it hard to, it's just why people use green screens. So we've already started, at the beginning, I knew exactly what point in the video where I was in a good pose that that would fit well for a thumbnail. So I already knew exactly what point in the video I wanted to screen capture, and I used the snipping tool on Windows to get that screenshot. And the same thing for what ends up being the background here, which is the cards turning. And so I created a new layer, which, if you want to create a new layer, you just have the layer tool, and then there's that little button that has a green plus, and that'll create a new layer. And then obviously any changes or edits you make on any given layer only affects that layer, which is what makes Paint.net awesome. It's completely free to use. That's why I use it. And where I get the text from is from cooltext.com. I like having all the options. I generally, stick to only a couple fonts, which I usually use, but those fonts are obviously really useful. And as you can see, I'm going to change the color here, which if you go into adjustments, you can adjust the hue, saturation, and lightness of your layer or selection within a layer. Obviously, I changed that from like orange to greenish, yellowish. And here I'm going to be drawing an arrow. So I used the line tool or the shape tool, the line shape tool, and my arrow wasn't quite perfect, so I went quickly and filled it in. And if you want to know how to zoom in and out quickly, you hold Control, or on Macs it's probably Apple, and do the scrolly thingy to zoom in and out. And if you want to scroll up and down, obviously you just do normal scroll. If you want to scroll left and right, you want to hold Shift while scrolling. And so here I decided I was going to use the square tool because I wanted to make that part of the frame bigger. I was going to use the square tool and expand it by dragging the corner of the selection. But I decided that I didn't want to use the square tool, and I changed it to a circle tool, and that one helped me select a circle or an ellipse. Which if you hold Shift while you're doing these selection tools and things, it'll keep the aspect ratio. So if you use the circle tool and hold Shift while you're expanding, it'll retain a circle. It won't become an ellipse. Same thing with rectangles and squares, If you have a rectangular selection and you want to maintain that exact dimensions of the rectangle, like the aspect ratio of the rectangle, and just make it bigger, you want to hold Shift while you do that. And so at this point, we just got to the point where I am just doing erasing, This is sped up like 10x. I think I cut, 30, and I think I cut like half of it out too, as we're going to see in a couple seconds here, I just jumped from, there's still plenty of little erasey things that I need to do, to the fact that I'm almost done right about now. And honestly, this is why people use green screens, because with the magic wand tool, you can just click on the green and it'll select everything in the frame that is of that exact same color. And obviously nothing is green except for the green screen, so it's only going to select the green screen, and then you can just press delete and it's all gone. The only thing that's left is your face, your body, etc., whatever you have in frame that is your body. So that's really useful. Obviously, I don't have the money to get rid of get a green screen, so I just I take the half an hour and I do my erasing, and it kind of sucks, but you got to do it. And at this point, we're pretty much almost done. I'm liking the look of it. I have two more things that I want to do, and the first one here is to add a green background, a green outline, rather, around my personal face image there. I like the way, having a color as a little outline to your body. I feel like it makes it pop, and I like having my face pop, on my thumbnails, because I feel like people get drawn in better that way. So I'm gonna go through it, at this point I created a new layer, right, and I put it over top of the layer with my face in it, and that's just for now. Obviously, I can move the layer down, right, and that's what the up and down arrows in that bottom right corner are. And so see, now it's behind my face image. And we're actually going to come back to that later, because I decided I'm not a huge fan of that, and which I'm looking at it now, and I'm still not a huge fan of it. So this is kind of unnecessary. I don't really use these for these kinds of videos. For other kinds of videos I would, but I am showing you how to do them here, and that is, and it's often usually work best with some kind of a fire background, if you have some image with fire in it. And then of course I changed the hue to be more purple and bluish, because that's the color I want in my fire. And then I did what's about to happen here is I'm about to do a radial blur, or maybe I already did the radial blur, and that makes it, very circularly and spirally, which is really cool and useful to use as a background, I find. And obviously I don't want it to pervade the image. I want it to be like barely seeable, you know what I mean? I want to make it just a little bit cooler. I don't want it to dominate the screen, so that's why I went into properties, which is one of the other buttons down in the layers section, and I changed the what is it called? The transparency of it, the transparency to be about halfway, so you can kind of see it, kind of not see it, and I messed around with some of the other functions that I was just, messing around with. I don't really know how they all work exactly, but if you just mess around with things, you tend to figure out how to use them. Obviously, I'm doing another blur here on the arrow, because I didn't want it to be quite as crisp. I think I ended up doing like the single least blurry kind of a blur, but as the one I went with. And we're almost done here. I believe I already changed the color of the arrow, and I decided, right, with the background, I'm still messing around with it, the purple fire background, not even a background, it's really just a soft onset of the image. I decided, right, that in the middle I didn't want that rectangle to be purpley. I wanted it to be the exact same red that the original image had, so I took a selection of the image and I cut it out, so the purple is everywhere except for that rectangle right in the middle. And here I decided that I didn't really like the green. I wanted more green. I didn't have enough. The outline was not quite thick enough for my taste, and so I went back and I redid that. And you know what? I decided that this was good. This was my image, and so I saved it. I saved it once as a .pdn, which is a file that is only openable by the program Paint.net, and here we go. This is the final image, obviously. And I saved that as a PNG. So right, I have one saved for the PDN, and that's for the file that I can, go back and change later if I want to, which I tend to do all the time because I'm always messing around with things. And the PNG is the final actual image format that, if you want to upload it as a photo somewhere, you want to use the PNG, or you can even use JPEG, or, there are other options. Just know that if you save it as a PDN, a Paint.net file, Paint.net will be the only program that can open it, and it won't be openable like a picture file. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any other questions on how to use any of the tools or anything, just hit me up in the comments or anything. I hope you guys found this really useful, and subscribe for more things like this. I like giving tutorials like this, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.